Welcome back. As you may recall, last month, a group of senior energy executives sent a letter to leaders of Canada's political parties asking for simplified regulations in the energy sector and for the declaration of a so-called energy emergency in the country. Let's get an update on what has happened since then. Joining me is one of the CEOs who signed that letter, Adam Waterous. He's now managing partner and chief investment officer of Waterous Energy Fund. Adam, thanks a lot for coming in.
Nice to be
You
here,
said
Paul.
just before we came on camera that both Pierre Poilievre and Mark Carney have responded to this letter. So first of all, remind us about the main points that the letter made, and then let's go through some of the reaction.
Sure. So the letter came in response to Canadians coming to the energy sector and saying, hey, we got to build pipelines in response to these tariffs. And energy executives always like to build stuff, but we couldn't get any money from our investors because of the regulatory environment. So essentially what the sector went to the four federal leaders and said, if you want private sector investment to build these pipelines, develop the sector, these are the half a dozen things you've got to change, and we'll be able to get investors, and we'll be able to build this. And so we sent that to the federal leaders, and now we've had a response.
Okay, let's start with Pierre Poilievre. He would, on the surface, seem to be the leader who needs the least convincing on this file. What has he said? So
last Tuesday, he responded formally and essentially went through the half a dozen items and went check, 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 and agreed to all six, which is very encouraging in terms of being able to attract private sector investment. Also on Tuesday, last week, Mark Carney responded and rejected 4 of the 6. So he said, starting off, that he would not repeal Bill C-69, which is known as the so-called No More Pipelines Bill.
Right.
He would not repeal the industrial carbon tax. He would not repeal the hard cap on emissions, and he would not commit to a 6-month approval process for projects. So what that really means is that a Mark Carney government would not have private sector investment to be able to build these major energy infrastructure projects. So the conclusion on that is very obvious. It doesn't mean you have to have private sector investment. You can use the public purse. You can use taxpayer money and create state-owned enterprises. That's his only other alternative. And there's lots of precedent for that, both here and in other parts of the world. Currently, the Chinese Communist Party uses state-owned enterprises to create oil companies like CNPC, Sinopec, to develop projects of the national Chinese interest.
Right.
We've just done that with Trans Mountain.
Right.
Is a state-owned enterprise. Now, the problem with that, there's really 3 problems with using state-owned enterprises to be able to develop the energy sector and these infrastructure. The first one, which is probably the most obvious, of course, is the cost. In that, let's look at Trans Mountain. It was originally budgeted at $7.4 billion. The government brought it in at a nice, tidy $35 billion, 5 times the cost. But let's say you don't care about taxpayer money. There's 2 other big problems. The first is, of course, the time. Trans Mountain was supposed to take 2 years. It took 6 years. Of course, we don't have 6 years today to be able to get energy infrastructure built. But the other problem, and this is the real deal breaker, is that a state-owned enterprise is considered by the U.S. government to be what's known as a non-tariff trade barrier. It's a subsidy, effectively, another form of subsidy.
To our energy producers?
In terms of actually providing, competing against the United States. And so a Donald Trump government is not going to reach an agreement with a state-owned enterprise owned by the Canadian government. Now, why is that so important? When we look at how we kind of got in this mess, is that we kind of lost this trade war 8 years ago when we didn't build Energy East and Northern Gateway. Yeah. If we'd done that, we'd have the leverage right now because we'd be saying to the United States, hey, we can ship to China. Now, Donald Trump has been very consistent in one thing for 9 years, and that he wants one thing from Canada, and that is the Keystone XL pipeline. Now, why is that so important? Well, it's because the United States produces 13 million barrels a day, but it consumes 20. Yeah. And what that has provided us with is an economic hard power. We currently supply them 4 million barrels a day. And Keystone XL would provide roughly, call it another 1 million barrels a day. So that's what he wants on. Now, I quickly would say is, I don't think the solution is just give him Keystone XL. You have to do that. Now, why that ends up being important is the Keystone XL would be effectively the tentpole, the thing that would protect the auto sector, steel, aluminum. I mean, put it another way, the bargain that Canada would be doing with Donald Trump is saying, fine, we'll give you what you want, Keystone XL, but in exchange, you've got to take the tariffs off, the automobile business, steel, tariffs. That's the bargain. At the same time, we obviously want to be building these east-west pipelines because we don't want to discontinue our single customer dependence.
Do you think Energy East is realistic under the right government? The reason I asked that was there seemed to be so much opposition in Quebec to allowing that pipeline to pass. Or the pipeline's already there. My understanding was a reversal of direction, correct? But they were opposed to that project.
Yeah. So what originally drove the CEOs of the 4 largest pipeline companies, the 10 largest oil and gas companies, to actually write the letter, is public support across the country saying, hey guys, why aren't you building this infrastructure? Yeah. And putting pressure on us, we say, well, geez, we're kind of the meat in the sandwich. Our investors won't give us any money with this regulatory environment. Yeah. So we actually think that there's been quite a dramatic sea change in the popularity for this. So it's not a question of if pipelines should be built or does the Canadian public think it's a good idea. It's who's going to build it. And we're simply saying is, well, geez, under a Carney government, he's ruled out private sector investment, and we think that state-owned enterprises are not going to be able to be feasible in creating that. And unfortunately, what that's doing is that's giving away our only negotiating leverage with the United States to be able to resolve these tariffs that Donald Trump has imposed.
Adam Waterous, thanks for joining us.
Thanks a lot.
Adam